I'm Grace Torie, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Torie, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. Happy Sunday. It is, April 16th? So April is officially halfway over. That is insane, and we are kind of like in the heat of spring, I would say. Not the heat, but we're in the middle of spring, and it's going to continue to get hotter. I don't know why I'm rambling about spring right now. What am I talking about? Okay. Today's podcast episode, the topic is... Oh, I should probably put that on silent. But the topic is ignoring society. I'm going to get a little bit more into that in a second. Basically, I've been in a slump lately. If you haven't noticed, I haven't really been, my best. And it's one of those slumps where, there's not something bad going on. Your life is my life is fine. I'm blessed. I'm grateful, and I do acknowledge that. But things also aren't going the way that I had hoped they would in certain areas either. So it's kind of just put me in a blah mood. So ignoring society is my newest way to cope with that. So I will explain what I mean by that. It's not anything crazy. It's something that I feel like we all do. But of course, before I get into that, let's talk about our life updates. So, let's see, my birthday is on Friday. I'll be 24. I've talked about it before. Yeehaw. Today is actually my bunny's birthday. He's sitting next to me on the floor right now. But Braxton, my black and white bunny, who's a little bit bigger than Bourbon, he turned 3 today. So that's really crazy. I posted him on my story on my personal, and then I also posted him on my pet Instagram. So if you want to see him, wish him a happy birthday, anything like that, all of that is linked down below. You can go to my personal Instagram and find everything there. But yeah, I'm really excited for him. He's a character. So I already gave him some presents. We're probably going to go to Home Depot, possibly if I have time, and just take him through the garden center, because one thing about Braxton is he loves people. He loves attention, and that's kind of weird for a bunny. And he also loves the gardening center at Home Depot. He would just go through it all day and look at all the plants and just stare at them. I don't know if it brings him back to a time when he was never feral, but I don't know if it takes him back to his ancestors or what, but he has a good time doing it. So that, and then he also has a stroller that he likes to take rides in, so maybe we'll do that too. I don't know. Other than that, I talked about being in a slump. Also, this is kind of random, but we live in kind of a rural slash, it's we're in the city of Lexington, but there's still a lot of wildlife and stuff. We're right next to a huge park, our neighborhood is, so tons of wildlife. But last night, one of my dogs stumbled across a bunny nest that was in our backyard. So I obviously own bunnies. I have domesticated bunnies, so they're kind of near and dear to my heart. So now I'm not letting the dogs in our backyard. We're taking them for strictly walks. But it was really sweet to see. They were 3-day-old babies, so hopefully that goes well. The mom goes well. Gonna kind of change our schedule so that the dogs will not be in the backyard, because yikes. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Also, yeah, the bunnies and dogs in my house are separated 24/7 for peace of mind. So that's, if you're confused, why I won't let them near those bunnies, but we have bunnies, it's because our bunnies have their own room and they do their own thing. So yeah, but I need to stop rambling about animals. I am not Snow White, no matter how much I try to be. And I guess just get on into this episode. So, like I mentioned, I will be turning 24 on Friday. And so I thought it would just be really appropriate to talk about how hard it is to be in your 20s, and just the comparison you have between yourself and other people your age, whether it's family members, friends, people on social media, no matter what. I know I kind of do it with a little bit of everybody, because my sister and my brother are both also in their 20s. All of my friends are obviously a similar age. And then, social media is really hard because you have people that are, younger than you and way more successful. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because it's been stressing me out a little bit lately. I don't even know why, because usually I'm very, chill about it. They're on their path and I'm on mine. Everybody's different. the past couple of days, it's just really gotten to me. So let's talk about it. Obviously, it's really common. Uh, and one thing I wanted to kind of mention is this particular topic is a little bit harder to get away from because I feel like for me personally, a lot of my insecurities or things that I'm like not happy about trying to change, like say I want to have a more toned body. It's not that I'm necessarily like obsessed with my weight, but I want to look better in certain areas. And so when I go on the internet and I see people that are toned and gorgeous and perfect, it stresses me out. So I can just turn off social media and then problem solved. It's not like people are walking around Kentucky in freaking bikinis and, you don't really see that. So the issue with this is comparison you can find it anywhere. Like you can't just turn off social media and it goes away. Like, like I mentioned, I have family members that are the same age as me. I have friends that are the same age as me. So if I turn off social media, it's still going to be a part of my life. And another hard thing that we kind of have to acknowledge is you still need to cheer your friends on. You still need to cheer your family on. You still need to support them and congratulate them, even if they achieve something that you want to achieve but haven't gotten to yet. So it's like you still have to be around it no matter how much you turn off social media and try and get away from it. You can't just like ostracize yourself from everyone. So it's hard. Like it's a lot harder to navigate. I've decided that it's time we all just live in our own delusion, and ignore everything else. And I don't mean 100% ignore everything. Like I said, you still need to be supportive and congratulate. But what I mean is to let it go. Cue Frozen. No, I'm kidding. Like, I tend to dwell on things. I'm an overthinker. I have anxiety. I will let it go in the moment. I'll be like, oh, congratulations. So happy for you. And then, like, 2 days later, I'll be in the shower and I'll be like, man, I wish I was in that place. And then I don't let it go and I dwell on it for days. And that's fine. Like, there is nothing wrong with, like, thinking about it later, but we can't dwell on it. You can't let it ruin things. So that's what I mean by ignoring society. Well, taking it a step further, what I meant by ignore society is society has certain standards set in mind for us. Obviously, it varies by culture, where you live, your age, your gender, all of that. But for me, as a 23-year-old in Kentucky, like I've mentioned before, we're in the Bible Belt, so most people are married. You're either married at like 21 or you're married by like 26. Very rarely are you married in your 30s. Maybe in the cities, but not like in rural areas. Also, you have a full-time career. Not a lot of people go to college, but like not a ton. So you do have like babies and things like that a lot younger, because you're in the workforce younger. You have your life figured out. By the time you're 23, you're either in college getting like a master's degree, or for the most part, you have a very stable income and like financial security and all that. And you know what you want to do. Like, I feel like we're very old school here, and that you like know what you want to do. They really push trade school here and all of that, which all of those things are amazing. If you choose to do that with your life, I am not knocking it at all. Proud of you for knowing what you want to do. I honestly admire you for knowing what you want to do. However, it stresses me out when all of these like social pressures are placed on me and I am still a hot mess. Obviously, I'm doing okay for myself, but there are some things that I would really, really, really like to be able to check off my list and say that I have achieved them or I'm at that stage in my life, but I can't because like I haven't achieved them. So this is where I meant delusion, and getting into that part of your life. We all know lucky girl syndrome. That's what I mean by delusion, and I'll get into that in a second, but just be delusional, girly. Like, act like you have the world. Don't dwell on things that make you sad, because that energy is not going to help anything. Basically, take the energy you would typically spend stressing and analyzing their situation versus yours and comparing yourself, and put that energy into other things, like actually building your life and taking the steps to go there and do that. Because I can lay in bed and complain all day, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be at the same place I was when I started the day, just probably in a worse mood because I've been like complaining and hyping myself up in that way. Like, you know how when you complain about something and you get more upset than you like actually need to be? Like you're irrationally upset because you talked about it with someone and gossiped about it and got it to that point where it's like you're genuinely upset when it isn't that big of a deal. So, I want to talk about this quote that I saw the other day. Someone like reposted it on Facebook and it was like a paragraph, so I'm not going to recite it because I don't remember it. But basically, what it said is if you're complaining, then you're not contributing. So those who put energy into complaining are never going to get better. But the people who put that same energy that they would put into complaining into actually contributing to a solution are going to create a better situation for themselves. And I'd never really thought about it like that. I don't know why I hadn't. I tend to be really deep, but that one just went right over my head. So when I read it, it actually like hit me because I love to complain, and I try to say like I'm so positive. You need to be more positive, blah blah blah, and preach about positivity. But I love to complain, and part of the time it's for the bit because it's a lot easier to make jokes that are self-deprecating, that are negative, that are sarcastic. It is, and I love a good bit. I'm here for the drama. But at the end of the day, like, you're gonna go to bed depressed because all you've done all day is talk about depressing things and made your energy negative. So I'm really, really working on contributing instead of complaining and trying to like actually do things for the better instead of just like sitting there being like, wow, this sucks, like blah 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 blah. But I also get really nervous about what to do because I'm afraid I'm going to do the wrong thing or I'm going to say the wrong thing and things are just going to get worse. So that's kind of where I'm working on now is like I talked about in my last episode, but being more brave and doing things that are going to help in the long run, even if they're scary, like higher risk, higher reward. And no matter what, we're going to be fine. Like, even if something doesn't work out, you still have hopefully the basic needs like a roof over your head, food, water, the things that matter, like your health. So if this doesn't work out in the light of eternity, it doesn't work out. My geometry teacher in high school, this is kind of crazy. I went to obviously a very Christian high school. And I love her. Like she was a hard ass. If you got like a C or worse on a grade, she'd hand you a Walmart or McDonald's application and be like, so this is where you're going because you're not graduating. And she was very like hard on you. And I made really good grades, so I never had that issue. But we would always ask her, like, either we would ask her a question that there was no answer to, like the limit does not exist, or we would get caught up on something and be like, hey, I don't understand how to do this. And she was really great in the sense that she would always say the same thing if it was something that didn't matter or like just wasn't a big deal pretty much. And she would look at us and say, in the light of eternity, does this really matter? Like, is this going to matter for your eternal life? And if you're not Christian, like, that's fine. If you're not religious, that's fine. But I look at it from, is this going to matter for your entire life? Is this moment going to matter forever? Is this going to alter your path forever? Or is it not even going to matter in 5 minutes? And it may matter for a day. It may matter for 2 weeks. It may matter for a week. But if it doesn't matter for the light of your eternal life, then, like, don't give it the attention of something you would give the attention that you does reflect on your eternal life, if that makes sense. So shout out to Mrs. Purvis. I think about that all the time. There are random things that my high school teachers said, and none of them were like 2 plus 2 or anything, but like random words of wisdom that I still think about all the time. And does it really matter in the light of eternity is something I think about very often because, as we talked about, I am for the drama and like to complain, but I'm working on it. So getting back on topic, because I kind of rambled for a second there, I've been really struggling with the comparison lately as everyone around me is in a different phase than I am. And while being in a different phase is an extremely beautiful thing, it does feel like I'm behind in certain areas. Like, especially when I talk about being the Bible Belt. So most of my friends are married, have kids. They definitely have very stable incomes. Like, it just almost feels like I am doing everything wrong because, like, I went to college, I got 3 degrees, I got a job, I have a boyfriend, we rent a house together. Like, there's this quote unquote formula that they give you, and it's like kind of the assumption that if you do everything in this formula, then you will get everything that you need or that you're meant to get or whatever. Like, you'll get a stable income, you'll get married, you'll get babies, you'll get all of the things that everyone is quote unquote meant to have and rooting for from like a stereotypical goal. But that's not the case at all. So I'm really struggling with the fact that I put in so much work into this quote unquote formula and it's not happened for me yet. And that doesn't mean it won't happen. I know it's going to happen. I'm grinding and working my butt off. And I'm not completely discounting patience. Like, I know that patience is very important and patience plays a huge role. And obviously things aren't just going to like appear, but it's hard when you're putting in all this time and everyone around you already has it. And it's things that like you should definitely have by now. Like, it's not like it's things that you should definitely have at this point. So I'm not going to dwell on it because, again, I'm not going to try and complain, but that's just kind of like how I felt lately and why I've been in such a slump. So I am saying this to like relate. If you're in a similar headspace, you're not alone. Like, I try really hard, work my butt off, and I still feel like that. Some days, it's not all the time, so you are definitely not alone. So anyways, I've been trying to really push this thought away and be delusional or practice like a girl syndrome instead. So just be like, no, you're not feeling this. No, you're not allowed to feel this. No, you're positive. But I don't think as I've kind of thought about it more, I don't think it's necessarily healthy to do that. I think that it's okay to take a day to feel your feelings to the fullest extent and not put like a boundary on it and say, hey, no, you are not allowed to feel this way. You have to be delusionally happy. You have to be so lucky all the time. Because I know that the point of like manifesting this lucky girl lifestyle is you are 100% like saying, I'm lucky, I'm lucky, I'm lucky. I'm so happy. I'm so positive. And like feeling those feelings will set you back, supposedly. But the thing is, if I don't feel those feelings, I don't feel like I'm being true to myself. So that is why I'm kind of like, if you are in a headspace where you feel stuck and you feel like you are trapped to the point that you can't even feel your feelings, then just feel them. It's not the end of the world. It's not healthy to like lie to yourself 110%. So if you get to that point where you're like, that's not true, I'm lying to myself, then feel those feelings. However, don't stick to them. Think about how you can resolve the feelings and the thoughts you're having. So maybe that's eating better, going to the gym. Maybe that's therapy. Maybe it's couples therapy. It could literally be anything, but it's much easier to brainstorm solutions when you think through your feelings than when you won't even dive into them and learn from them because you are too stressed about manifesting. I think that a lot of people think that manifesting is just saying to yourself, this is true, and that's it. Like, it stops there. Like, I am the luckiest girl in the world. That's it. You just have to say that once, and then your life gets better. That is not the case at all. You still have to take action and work towards the goal. So ask yourself what actions you need to take. And people who have been manifesting for a long time call this inspired action. It's when you get like a feeling, like your intuition tells you need to do something, then you take a leap and do it. So if you are spiritual and you do believe in that, that's what they're talking about. But if you're not spiritual, take that action that would make sense for you to get out of the thoughts you're feeling. Like, it doesn't have to be some magical thing that comes down on you. And if you're manifesting, you probably are a little bit spiritual and like trying, so you probably will take the inspired action. But if you are logical and just do like what logically works best, I feel like I'm kind of rambling a little bit because I don't know where this episode's going, honestly, guys. I would just like, I don't know. I have to take the dog to the vet in like 30 minutes, so I'm a little stressy, depressy. He was supposed to go yesterday, but he got too much anxiety, so they're like, oh, just bring him back tomorrow and we'll do the other half of like his vaccinations. And this is my 80-pound dog. Like, he's huge. So, yeah. Anyway, that's really it for this episode. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of in a weird mood. I think that what I kind of laid out for you guys is how I'm feeling, my most authentic self. And this is one of those episodes that I really, if you do relate to me, I hope that this was really helpful for you. This is a little bit less of me giving like 10 tips to be better and like giving you more of like my raw feelings as they're happening and my thoughts on them on a topic that is really, really common. So hopefully you found something helpful from this. If you did, go ahead and leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if that's what you're listening on. Like I've mentioned before, it'll change my whole world. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, all those good things on whatever platform you're on. If you want to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, I am at That Girl the Pod. I'm also that on YouTube, and we like to have fun on all those places. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have the best week if you're watching this on Sunday. Hope you have a great night as well. If you're listening to this on any other day, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. I love you so, so much. Don't forget to, I forgot. I literally, I was going to tell you something, and I was like, don't forget, but then I forgot it. Oh, that's so bad. Okay, I'm gonna go because I don't know. Okay, bye. I'm rambling. I love you guys so much. I'll see you in my next podcast episode. And bye, guys. Love you.